What's up YouTube? So in this video we are doing a very brief review of two new trowels that we have recently bought from Marshalltown, and they are the 14 inch by 4 3/4 inch cement trowel, again carbon steel, and this one here the 13 inch by 5 inch plastering trowel, again carbon steel from Marshalltown. Now anybody that watches our channel knows that we absolutely love carbon steel trowels, the main reason being they break in so nicely and the finish that you can achieve is very similar to that of a flexible trowel, except you've got that nice firmness. Yes, they break in fast and they give a super sharp edge to leave a wonderful finish. So what do we think of these two new trowels? Well, I have literally just bought these in the last day or so. In fact, I put a post on Facebook, I think it was the Plasterers Trowel Talk group, just asking what the difference was. Because I saw these two trowels, one's a cement trowel, one's a plastering trowel. What is the difference other than, I think, as several mentioned, 7p difference and a slightly different size? Well, I went ahead and I asked Marshalltown, contacted them and said, you know, look, you've got two trowels here. What is the difference between the two? And pretty much they basically said that the cement trowel was slightly more robust, but they didn't recommend using it for plastering. So needless to say, in typical Alex and Morley fashion, I completely ignored Marshalltown and just bought both of them. Now, I was working, unfortunately, yesterday on a Sunday and was trying out these plastering trowels on a room that I was skimming up on board, and tested out the 13 inch plastering trowel first and then the 14 inch cement trowel just to see what we thought. Straight out of the box, no sanding, no nothing. What did we think? Well, on both of them we were very impressed. One of the things that really surprises me straight out the box is just how light these two trowels are. Certainly compared to a stainless steel Permashape from Marshalltown, these are much lighter. Now what I can say is that the 13 inch by 5 inch plastering version, the one that's supposed to be used for skimming, is very similar to that of the Permashape, the stainless steel one. It's very similar bend, very similar feel to it. Whereas the cement trowel is very similar to the carbon steel Nella one that we have. So what do we think of the two trowels? Well, unsurprisingly, both were superb. They, don't get me wrong, they had a few little foibles that you get from a brand spanking new trowel, most specifically just how sharp the corners were. It was proving to be slightly annoying when it came to the corners with the scrim tape. I caught the corners a couple of times, but other than that, the application of the plaster was superb. I was blown away at just how nice of a finish that you could get from these two trowels. Now admittedly it was very cold, so the timings on the plaster was a little bit off, which made it a little bit tough, certainly on the first set for some bizarre reason when I was using the 13 inch. But what was really noticeable is that the 13 inch I thought applied the plaster nicer, but the 14 inch cement trowel actually flattened it a lot nicer, and it also went through the trowel stages. So the first and the wet, the first wet trowel and the second wet trowel really nicely. Unfortunately, because the day was getting on, I actually stopped using the 13 inch and switched over to my Rafina Superflex just to do the second wet trowel, just to get a really nice finish. But on the second set, I used the 14 inch cement trowel, which is a little bit more what we're used to for the whole thing. And I was really impressed with how nice of a finish that I was able to receive, I was able to get with the trowel. Especially brand spanking new out of the box. Here are just a couple of clips of me using the trowel here. Unfortunately, I was doing another video at the time, but sadly the video for one reason or another was rendered useless. But this is us using the trowel for that set. Now behind me here, we're actually in the middle of doing a float and set wall, and I've done pretty much all of the work on the 13-inch and it applied the hard wall lovely, and I'll actually use the 13-inch to finish off, so I will do the first and second coat on this wall as well, and you'll see a clip of that in a moment. So all in all, out the box, very, very nice. But why did I buy these two trowels? Well, other than the fact that I love plastering trowels, I love carbon steel trowels, and I really like timber handled plastering trowels. To get the Nella carbon steel with the timber handle, you actually have to buy the handle separate. It's not a big deal, it's only about £4. These actually came with timber handles, very, very nice to use. They're pretty much identical, to be honest with you, handle wise. There's not really anything in it. What I can say about the trowels themselves is that the cement trowel, so the narrow one, is ever so slightly stiffer. Not by an awful lot, but it is noticeable when you're flexing the corner. You can tell it is ever so slightly stiffer. Now that may be because it's a stiffer metal, or it might be that the fact that the blade is slightly narrower, so the spine of the trowel is actually closer to the edge, making it a little bit more rigid. But that rigidity was very, very nice, certainly when it came to the latter stages of the set. The other thing which was really noteworthy, and is actually one of the reasons why I bought both, was the price. I was blown away. Now admittedly, at the time of me buying them, they were on sale. Now whether they still are right now, I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll actually put a screenshot just here as to the price that I paid. I think they were just over £28 plus VAT for Marshalltown trowels. That is unbelievable. Even the Nella carbon steel trowels are not that cheap. What an incredible price for two fantastic trowels. So what we're going to do is actually going to use these trowels over the next few weeks and months. Every so often, obviously, we need to really focus on the giveaway trowel, so it won't be all the time. We're just going to kind of get used to these Marshalltown trowels, just see how they fare. We certainly are very, very impressed with how they compare straight out the box. I would have said out of the box they're probably slightly better than the Nella Carbon, if I'm being honest with you. Whether they break in as nice, I don't know. There are obviously many that love Marshalltown. There's definitely a loyal following to the stainless steel version, so we're going to really enjoy working out just how good these two trowels are. But certainly a thumbs up from us. It's certainly something we would recommend considering buying, and it's something that we'll be using in the next few months, certainly in our videos, and we'll let you know how we get on with the trowel. Thanks again for watching. We hope you found this review helpful. Consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks again.